Hey, Sean, any injuries come from yesterday?
Yeah, there was, your typical bumps and bruises. Jacob Harris, unfortunately, he tore his pec, so he's going to need surgery. And then Marquise Copeland had a high ankle sprain, so we'll see what his status is, in the coming couple days.
Okay. And I saw a ESPN report about Liam leaving or going back to Kentucky. Can you confirm that?
We've talked about that being a possibility. I don't think anything's official yet, but if that's the direction that he goes, then he'll do a great job, just like he did previously. He and I have a great relationship. No matter how it ends up finishing up, he's going to do a great job with us the rest of this year. And then if that's the direction that he chooses, then I know he'll do an outstanding job there.
Gotcha, Sean. And from yesterday's game, a lot of things happened with Baker Mayfield. I'm sure you're impressed you in many ways, but can you kind of just touch on how you got quick chemistry with the wide receivers, Tutu, Jefferson, Skoranek? What do you think that was that you got so quick chemistry with them?
I think that was just guys that were being instinctual. They kind of fed off of one another, and sometimes things can kind of click like that. But that was a special night. Credit to those guys. Baker and the receivers that you mentioned making those plays, and it sure was fun to watch them do their thing.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Maria.
Sean, on a good day, it's difficult to go 98 yards down the field and score like that. But what was going through your mind on the sideline watching that?
I'm just amazed, just so impressed, Maria, with the calm of the players, the urgency, but also the poise that they demonstrated. And, guys making plays. I think just like Gilberto was asking, you look at it, guys made plays. Baker put the, ball in excellent location. Guys were protecting up front and making contested catches. And a lot of those, plays were man coverage types of situations where you got to be able to win. Thought Baker gave those guys opportunities and they were able to make the plays when it counted the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sarah.
Sean, obviously it was a crazy 2 days getting Baker ready, but now what do the next 11 look like as you get ready for your next game?
Yeah, I think it'll be good to be able to just kind of take a deep breath, unpack the game from last night today. And, you give the coaches a little bit of time. So we'll get a jump on the Packers and kind of get him, just more, I guess, acclimated and familiar with just some of the different things that we can continue to expand on from the other night. But it'll just be kind of a day at a time for us right now, Sarah. And glad that Baker's here with us.
When you walked into the locker room after talking at the podium, I saw you walk up to Jalen and give him a hug. What did you tell him?
I love Jalen. So we have a great relationship. Just that I was happy for the way that he continued to play. 2 5-star players going at it last night, and it's a good heavyweight matchup. And so just happy for the way that he's led and the way he's handled himself consistently through this season. And, just telling him I appreciate him.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Jordan.
Hey, Sean, did you borrow Gary's computer? Is that why you couldn't connect early on?
Right. That's exactly right. I could see all you guys, but I couldn't figure out how to get it off the mute.
Sean, you talked last week, big picture, about just some of the shortened runway that you guys had last year to prepare for this season. And now that you're in an evaluation mode with Baker, and you're discussing some moving parts with various coaches, kind of wanting to ask about a situation with Matthew Stafford. Are you of the impression that he's going to need any sort of procedure heading into the offseason? I know you said you were aware that he was going to have a healthy full offseason.
Yeah, no, he'll be good. To my knowledge, there's nothing like that that's going to be required or necessary. And I think it'll be great for Matthew to be able to have a healthy offseason and do a lot of the things that I think he'll feel good about being able to do.
In terms of having him and Cooper around and on the sideline yesterday, on the one hand, you're like, everyone's celebrating, don't hit the quarterback who's on injured reserve. But at the same time, what is that like for him seeing things in this view versus being the one who's got you in his ear?
What's so impressive about Matthew Jordan is, just being able to contribute and connect with his teammates, stay connected with his teammates in any way that he can. I mean, he was even on the headset on the last drive and making sure that, he was able to add in a couple things that would be helpful to kind of relay specific information to Baker. And that tells you everything that you need to know about Matthew and who he is. So I think sometimes being able to get a different perspective can be beneficial. Obviously, he would be better equipped to answer it, but his vantage point, his understanding, his ability to still be able to contribute in spite of, I know he wants to be out there competing with his teammates. Jordan has just continued to impress me with the man he is.
And then in that late drive, just a quick follow-up for me, that last drive, getting the silent cadence, and some of the linemen were pretty funny talking about it afterward, just all the communication. Can you expand a little on like what you heard on your side of it, like what you heard at the headset during that time?
Well, fortunately, I can't hear them, anything they say. It's just a one-way communicator. So the stuff that I relay to the quarterback, they probably want to cuss me out a lot and talk back to me, but it can only go one way. But I think you could just see even the communication of when we were clocking it. If you watch even on the TV copy, the urgency that Brian Allen has, big eyes communicating to him what the cadence is and, what are the mechanics of that. It was just, it's an incredible display of guys just being in the moment and being able to kind of lift one another up. I mean, the 2-minute operation, there's so many different things that that situation and those specific situations entail in terms of the amount of work and situational understanding. And for those guys to be able to get it done, it was just where you say, wow, what an amazing job by the players.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Stu?
Hey, Sean, just to follow back up on Jacob Harris for a second. I'm assuming, did that happen on a special teams play, or do you know exactly how it happened?
Yep, it happened on that special teams play. So it's unfortunate. He's done a really good job, and I've really seen a lot of growth from Jacob, and that's a bummer to end his season like that.
And then Tremaine Ankrum being nominated as the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee. Obviously, what was your, I guess, reaction to that, and what have you learned about him as a person since he's been with the team?
Yeah, I think, you talk about a heart for people, just so selfless, always wanted to do things. Even, as soon as he got injured this year, he's always been a guy that has been, really connected with Molly Higgins, doing so many different things to use his platform to assist and be kind of a light in a lot of scenarios and situations. And, even in the midst of getting a major surgery on his ankle, he's immediately connecting with her saying, all right, well, with this extra time that I have, how can I utilize that? To be able to help a lot of different things that I'm passionate about. And his heart for people, his humility, just the consistency with the way that he handles and carries himself and his demeanor and, just who he is as a man is something that's really special. And I'm really, it's very well deserved for him to get that nomination for our team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nick?
Hey, Coach. You talk about your wide receiver core when it comes to Van Jefferson, Ben Skoranek, and Atwell. What have you seen in the last couple of weeks that really, from your perspective, that really allowed them to prepare to to capitalize on that big moment and that game-winning drive last night that enabled you all to win?
I think just confidence. I think, getting opportunities. You watch Van has always, been a guy that's produced and made a lot of big plays in key moments for us. Going back the last couple of years, but I think him getting comfortable playing like the guy that we know after just kind of returning from the injury. Tutu, it's awesome to watch his growth and maturation and his comfort and confidence and his play swagger. And, same thing with Ben. He got into a rhythm. He made a couple key critical catches. Thought the third down that, almost got us down in a scoring position when we turned it over was huge, but he really was able to capitalize on that momentum. And confidence is a powerful thing, and it can compound quickly. And I think that's what you're seeing from those guys. And Eric Yarber and Greg Olsen have really done a great job with that group. And, I thought Brandon Powell was awesome against Seattle. And, you want to continue to find ways to be able to get him involved as well.
And you talk about, finding ways to get other players involved. And are there different type of conversations or just the continuing conversations as far as dealing with Baker Mayfield, coming in here, learning a new offense, and then also keeping guys like John Wolford and Perkins, locked in and stay laser focused for if it happens to be their time to come in at some point during the games that you guys have coming up?
Those guys did a great job. I mean, you can't say enough. Number one, John was doing everything he could to be ready for that game. He was limited, but he was going to push through for the team. I think that says a lot about him. And it wasn't anything that he didn't do. It was something that, we just felt like with some of the things in the health of John, Baker would give us an opportunity to run a couple different things that maybe we wouldn't have been able to present to them defensively otherwise, just because of John's health. So, we want to get him healthy. Bryce is such a pro in every sense of the word and a guy that can bring a lot of different things to the table, but those guys continue to go about their business the right way. we'll get John healthy, and we'll get a chance to, if he stays healthy, to be able to see Baker, start and lead the way for the last 4 games of the season.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll wrap up with Gary, then Greg.
Hey, Sean, any communication from Matt LaFleur after you guys picked up Baker or after last night's game?
You know what? I probably will talk to Matt at some point this weekend, Gary. We usually connect. He's one of my closest friends. He might have texted me, but I haven't, kind of gone through all those texts quite yet. Probably, we'll end up connecting later today. We'll talk about, we'll exchange game plans and things like that.
And so what's this going to be like for you over the next 4 games, including last night, to kind of have a project, if you will, of evaluating Baker and working with him?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think you just take it a day at a time. I think you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. I think it's good for us to kind of be able to catch our breath today. It was a quick crash course for him, but we'll get connected. We'll start to get a plan together for the Packers, and I think we'll just at least have a little bit more normalcy to a weekly rhythm. But you still don't want to be naive to the fact that there's a lot of things that we've got to continue to try to be able to build on. I thought what he did last night was miraculous. But I think we just want to take it a day at a time, and it'll be fun to be able to see, what we can do with it for the last quarter of the season.
And finally, if Liam does end up going back to Kentucky, are you apt to consider Thomas Brown as a candidate, or will you look outside your staff for a new coordinator?
Oh, certainly. Thomas is a great coach that is more than capable of being able to do that. There's still so many things that are going to occur even in the next month that I'll worry about that once we get there. I think the focus and concentration will be on this team finishing out this season the right way. Hopefully be able to have some more fun games like what last night was, and then we'll deal with a lot of different things after the season.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sean, everybody's paying attention to Baker's drives and the really exciting ending to that game. But what did the defense do? What stands out to you about that second half where they pretty much shut down Vegas entirely?
I'm glad you asked about that, Greg, because I can't say enough about what they did. Even to be able to get the stop where, they get that 9-yard chunk, and what a play by Hoyt to be able to kind of, read out of that from the edge, fall back inside, and be able to, stop him a yard short, because that was, for the most part, a run that you end up getting a first down right there. They're able to, take it down to the 2-minute and take knees, and the game's over. And so that stop on the second down to get it to 3rd and 1, and then the stop by our guys on 3rd down was unbelievable. I thought Raheem and the defensive coaches, and then ultimately the players being able to bring it to life, really did a great job last night. And the second half was instrumental in us even having a chance to try to win that game. So I'm glad you brought that up, Greg.
And you've watched a lot of film of Bobby Wagner over the years, and you've seen him up close this year. What level is he playing at in comparison to where he's been in his career, and where does he rank among the linebackers in the league in your estimation as a guy who's watched a ton of tape?
Yeah, he's still playing at a really high level where he's earned the reputation as being one of the best. We talk about the consistency being the truest measurement of performance. He's so steady, he's so consistent. He's got such a great way of being able to elevate people around him. There's a calming presence, but there's an urgency where you're like, I don't want to let this guy down. I think his teammates feel that way. I think we even feel that way as coaches because of the respect that he commands. And, Bobby's been awesome and really wanted that one for him the other day, but to see how quickly he was able to bounce back, play another outstanding game and a couple days turnaround was another testament to who Bobby is as a human and as a player.
Thanks, Sean.
Jordan has one more, I think.
It's super quick. Thank you so much for taking the fall. You mentioned Michael Hoyt on that play at the end. Earlier in the game, it looked like he was going through some teachable moments, especially playing on the outside and some of that outside stuff that they were running, subbing out, getting talking through it, coming back in. What is that like to see someone grow in real time in a crazy game like that? And you're going back over your film study and you're watching someone literally grow from those teachable moments in real time.
That's what coaching is. Coaching is teaching. And I think more than anything, we've been challenged to kind of get guys up to speed in a really quick manner where, there's more moving parts than ever before than what we had ever anticipated. And I think that's a real credit to, Michael Hoyt's ability to be able to do that, his teammates. I think Thad Bogardus, you even just look at, Eric Henderson, because Thad's up in the booth during games, to be able to kind of communicate with those guys on the sideline. And, those guys that have that football character with the accountability and the coachability, they can improve quickly and they can really bring a lot to the table. And Hoyt has certainly been one of those guys that stands out when you talk about those things.